You're listening to an archived Cabral Concept podcast. After listening to this show, check out the most up-to-date podcasts available at stephencabral.com/podcasts or search directly on iTunes. And now, welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Cabral Concept. Glad you could join me here today on this Friday review, where I can't wait to get started with sharing with you everything that's gone on over the past week in the practice, and there has been a lot. I want to share with you a brand new product review that I've been using for about 2 months now, and I have enough feedback, I have enough data to give you a really honest and provide you with the feedback that I think you need on this particular product. And then some new research I wanted to share with you, like we do each and every year, the 12 most toxic foods in terms of pesticide sprays, and also the cleanest 15 foods. Whereas if you weren't able to buy organic for those ones, it may not be as bad. So I'm going to bring you that, and of course, we'll end with our lab result teaching of the week, where I like to share with you how you can know as much as your doctor on your lab reports. So can't wait to get started. We are going to dive right into the show. And first things first, I always share with you for the first couple minutes what's been going on in the practice. Each week seems to be, we just cram so much into a 5-day work week that sometimes it just seems unbelievable. And I'm sure my team, sometimes feels the same way as well. So, the thing is that I believe that once you know the course that you've set and the direction that you want to move forward towards, and you're united as a team, that you just really hit the jets and you go as fast as you can, because you know what that end result is going to be. And for us, it's being able to reach more and more people. So we're doing our best. We're actually starting for the very first time, trying to do some online ads, which just basically means like getting our message out to more people. So that's been one little expansion. We're not doing a lot of it, but we're testing the waters. We want to be able to reach more people outside of our community. And I don't know how to do that except for me continuing to do my podcast. And in the future, there will be the videos that we'll be creating that I talked about, my Sunday email. I just did the first webinar for the first time ever. That was this past Wednesday. And we're offering recordings, I believe, through this Sunday. And we do IHP as well. And IHP is one of our favorite things in the world. I'm honestly just a teacher at heart. It's what I love to do. And we just finished up, or did we finish up? Yes, we've already finished up our open enrollment for the summer for the integrative health practitioner. So you can still apply, but we are currently closed for the summer. The next opening won't be for a bit, but you can find out more about that at integrativehealthpractitioner.org. Really happy to invite in our next 100 students and members, as well as we just did our Facebook Live. Each and every month, we do a private Facebook Live where I hop on live on video and I answer all of our IHP course and certification students in that. So super exciting. Remember that the majority of the people in that are not health practitioners per se, but are looking to learn more about their health, looking how to heal others, potentially become a certified health coach as well. And then, of course, the other half would be people already in the health-based field. We honestly welcome one and all. It's an amazing, amazing program that we just enjoy so much actually being a part of that community. So the big thing, though, that has really taken up our last 7 days, 8 days, is our first ever semi-annual sale. I'm not going to talk too much about that. If you are on the Equilibrium Nutrition newsletter list, which I hope that you are, you've gotten emails on that. And we've offered just some absolutely incredible deals that we typically never do, because we try to price our products already at the lowest price that we can. Remember, these are functional medicine formulas that are third-party tested. They use the highest quality ingredients. All of our B vitamins automatically are methylated. We use the best chelated-based minerals out there. So this is something I take great pride in, simply because I use them in private practice. I use them with myself, and my entire family uses them as well. They have to be the best. I mean, that's just the way that it is. And that's what we do. We source the best materials, and we have them made, and we're now fortunate to be able to ship those to 19 countries around the world in less than 3 to 5 days internationally. People in Australia getting them in about 5 days now, and in the US, you're getting them in just about 2 days, which I think is pretty remarkable. So excited about that. That goes on through this Sunday, up to 35% off. Everything is at least 10% off and up to 35% off on bundles and lab tests. And so this is something I've wanted to do for a long time. I've worked with my team on this. They're the ones that set the prices accordingly. They set up the sale. They do all of these things. It's a lot of work because there's over 80 products. And so when you look at that, that's a lot of work for our team. But it's something that we love to do. And we're are doing our holiday celebration in July, and then there won't be another sale until December. So hopefully you've taken advantage of it. It's been a whole lot of fun to do, and we can't wait to just invite everybody in for this last chance through the weekend. Okay, so the last part that I want to bring you before I get on to my research for the day is we put out, I believe it was just a message in our Facebook group and IHP that we were looking for a medical director. And that is because Equilibrium Nutrition is continuing to expand. And with that, I'm looking for someone to help with those labs and lab relationships and all that great stuff. And again, it's a very large, growing entity all into its own. And my job, I've always felt that it's my job, is to try to provide the education. So whether you ever run a lab through Equilibrium Nutrition or not, does not matter necessarily to me. I believe that it's the very best. It comes with a health coaching call. It comes with my review. It's now going to come with our medical director's review. I mean, it's the best out there. There's no doubt about that, because all I did was take my private practice in Boston and bring it online. And to my knowledge, no one else has done that. There are other companies that do at-home lab testing, but they're more private equity-based, Silicon Valley marketing-based companies. And I don't mean that in a negative or bad way, but they are absolute machines, like behemoths. And there's not necessarily the personal touch behind that. Again, I'm not saying anything disparaging about the companies, but what I am saying is with us, you are actually getting a live human on the call with you to explain your results. So you don't just get the PDF or get the login. And you are getting a lab that you know has been reviewed by someone qualified that's able to also provide you with a personalized protocol. And I review every single lab myself. Every Monday and Thursday, my health coaches and I, we get on phone calls over our software that we use, and we discuss all of those labs. So it's pretty exciting, but I am looking for a medical director to help me with that, and I would like to offer additional lab tests as well. So that will then enable me, if you're kind of asking why, that will enable me to then do what I love to do, which is now going to be create mini courses. I'll talk more about that this fall. And I get to formulate more products that I love doing as well. And I also then will be able to start shooting video. And video for me is simply going to take things, I believe, to the next level. The podcast isn't going anywhere. But what if I could do a video, short videos, where I teach one topic, whether it be on a whiteboard or just, doing a product demonstration, and that will eventually grow into a much larger video production that I can't wait for. But again, I've learned a little bit of patience in my years, and so we're moving towards that. So excited because I can't begin to tell you how many applications we've gotten for our virtual medical director position. I mean, every time I check my email, there are 2 or 3 more forwards of resumes from my team. So I have the big task of going through all of those and then beginning to set up the interview process. But I'm excited because somewhere in August, I will be announcing our new medical director. Who knows? They might do some podcasts with me, meaning I might bring them on and we'll have a nice little discussion. You might get to speak with them on the phone if you're in the private practice or you do some lab consults. So we've got great things coming. Again, Equilibrium Nutrition. My goal is to make it the biggest global functional medicine virtual practice in the world. That's it. That's our goal. And I'm excited about that. Not the biggest for any particular reason, but just providing the largest amount of service that I can think of. And I'm excited. We have an amazing team, and I know that we can make it happen. So that is our goal. All right. So that's what's been happening in the practice. Oh, one more thing, and I'm glad that I made a note on this because it's right here in front of me. It's a good thing I put that, is that I wanted to talk about something that meant a lot to me. So beyond kind of like the nuts and bolts of behind the scenes, I haven't been able to work with a lot of new people in my private practice. Most of the new people, They work with my health coaching team, and I oversee all of their labs and recommendations. So I still do that. I oversee everything. But I was working with a personal referral, and I had the pleasure of speaking with someone that has now been given a little bit of hope. That I worked with someone they are very familiar with, and they saw this person who had struggled for essentially their entire life from their teenage years to now they're in their early 40s, and they finally were able to get the results they wanted. And I couldn't be more happy for this person. Remember, I am simply listening to the story. I'm looking at what the deficiencies are, what the toxicities are, and I'm guiding them along the path. I'm making adjustments, I'm making tweaks, and this person put in the work. That's it. Bottom line is they followed the plan, they had the discipline, there were ups and downs, and they made it. And they're happier, more energy, best shape of their life. And again, we're all told that should not happen once you start getting into your later 30s and your 40s. Well, I can tell you right now, people can turn their thyroid around. They can turn their weight loss around. They can turn their aging around. They can turn their skin health, their outer glow around. You can do all of that. And now, this is what it's all about. Nobody has to come and work with us in particular. But what I always tell people to do is when you get those results, whoever you are, just share it with someone else. When people ask, because they're going to ask, how did you get those results? Share what you did. Give other people hope. Because now I'm working with someone else who didn't believe, because they've worked with, all the best people out there, right? The best people out there. And they've come to me because I offer a different perspective. And now they have hope for the very first time in many years. And I can't wait to see what their success story is going to look like as well. Because what I told them was this: there's always a reason why. We're going to figure out your reason why. I'm not going to tell you that you're going to turn your life around in 7 days. We will help you rebalance your body. And in time, you will have that same success story that you're looking for. So bottom line is this: everyone should have hope. That's it. Everyone should have hope. Whatever you're suffering with right now, I can tell you for sure, someone else has overcome it. And if they've overcome it, I don't see why you can't. I really don't. You can always have the excuse, and believe me, I had mine. You always have the excuse that I'm different or this person's different. Remember, we all have our unique attributes about us. There's no doubt about that. I said that to the person when I was on our Skype call. Listen, you're still unique. Even though you suffer from a lot of the same things, you're still unique. We're going to work on you as an individual. However, I'm telling you right now, there are only so many things that can be wrong with the human body, and we need to rebalance them. And conventional medicine, this is not where they shine. This is where natural medicine shines. This is where working with an integrative health practitioner, it's where they shine because they can look at all of the underlying root causes. All right, before this turns into a Motivation and Mindset Monday, which are some of my favorite shows for myself as well, I want to get right into now our research for the week. All right, hopefully that was helpful. So we're looking at the research right now, and what I wanted to do is actually compare with you 2017 to 2018 to 2019. And if you've never heard of the Clean 15 and the Dirty Dozen, well, we're going to open your eyes to that today. And the Clean 15 means that these are the foods that have been determined to have the highest amount of pesticide on them for the Dirty Dozen. That means they're the most sprayed with pesticide and that you can't wash them off because it gets into the skin and it gets into the actual, we'll call it, in air quotes, flesh of the fruit or vegetables. And then the Clean 15 are the least sprayed or the easiest to peel off the skin and not get the actual pesticide. So let's go through that. I'd love to take you through all of the lists right now. I don't know that we need to do particularly the 2017. Why don't I do this just for time savings because it honestly doesn't matter too much for you. 2017 to 2018 was basically near identical. Let me give you 2018s. And I have this linked up on my website as well. But the Dirty Dozen was this. The dirtiest ones these are the ones that you want to purchase organic no matter what. That if you can't find them organic, then better off not eating them. Better off just choosing one of the Clean 15 if you can't find organic. Okay, so here we go. Dirty Dozen, always buy organic. Strawberries, the most dirty. Then spinach. Then nectarines. Then apples. Then peaches. Then pears, cherries, grapes, celery, tomatoes, sweet bell peppers, and potatoes. Those are the Dirty Dozen. That's from 2018. If you head on over, let's make this easy for you. Head on over to stephencabral.com/1260. I'm going to put graphics that you could print out if you'd like and just carry around with you as the 2018. Well, I'll give you the 2019 as well. Dirty Dozen. And then the Clean 15. Okay, what are the Clean 15 from 2018? Avocados, sweet corn, pineapples, cabbage, onions, sweet peas, papayas, but careful because papayas are oftentimes GMO, and you do not want a GMO papaya. Check out a podcast I did on how to read labels. It will tell you by the number, the code on it, whether it's organic, conventional, which means heavily sprayed, or GMO. So check out that podcast as well. Well, I'll do my best to have my team link that up. Head on over to 1260, and we'll do our best absolutely to link that up. Okay, avocados, sweet corn, pineapples, cabbages, onions, sweet peas, papayas, asparagus, mangoes, eggplants, honeydews, kiwis, cantaloupes, cauliflower, and broccoli. All right, so that was 2018. Let's see if there's a little bit of a shift to 2019. Here's the Dirty Dozen from 2019, this year. We have strawberries. Strawberries, still number one. It's been number one for a long time, and that's because strawberries are a very dirty fruit. I talked about that. It was either my Facebook Live or I do so much recording now. I don't know, but strawberries, honestly, the reaction that a lot of people are having from strawberries is not the strawberry itself, but the heavy amount of pesticide on them. But okay, strawberries still number one. Spinach number two, but look what jumped onto the chart this year for the very first time. Kale. Kale is now the number three. It jumped from not even on the chart to number three in a year, and that's because kale became a whole lot more popular in 2018, about 18 months ago. It's much more sprayed now, and of course, it's more conventionally grown. Choose organic when choosing kale. We have nectarines and apples and grapes and peaches and cherries and pears and tomatoes and celery and potatoes. Now, if you look back to that Dirty Dozen, when we look at that, we're going to say, all right, everything looks pretty much the same, but what we did was we got the jump up from kale and we got the knock down, I think, from the sweet bell peppers. All right, so that fell off the list for not our top 12, but it doesn't mean it's a clean one. It has a soft skin, and when you spray that soft skin, it can absorb pesticides. All right, let's move on now to the Clean 15. Clean 15, we still have avocados as number one. Sweet corn, but remember, sweet corn can be GMO as well, so watch out for your corn and papayas. They are oftentimes GMO. All right, we've got avocado, sweet corn, pineapples, frozen sweet peas, onions, papayas, eggplant, asparagus, kiwis, cabbage, cauliflower, cantaloupe, broccoli, mushrooms, which jumped on a list, and honeydew melon. So a nice way, I would honestly look at both lists because if it was on the Dirty Dozen from 2018, it doesn't mean it's fallen too far for 2019. We didn't all of a sudden stop spraying it less, right? Because we do that, people do that. I don't do that, but people do that to keep away bugs so that the crops could be larger, or because they're using a crop that is basically pesticide resistant, meaning like it won't kill the crop, but it will kill the bugs, and they get paid quite a bit of money to do that. Okay, so I'm going to link up both of these graphics from 2018 and 2019 at stephencabral.com/129 or 1260. I don't want to get ahead of myself. And then I will do my best to make sure we find the podcast on labels as well. All right, next up is my product review of the week. Usually I'm bringing you a book review. I gave you a couple last week that I enjoyed reading. Those are now done. And the one that I'm going over today, instead of doing a book review from what I've been reading, is the Oura Ring. A lot of people knew that I would be reviewing this soon because on Instagram, my Instagram stories, I've been posting some of my readiness scores, my sleep scores, all of those things from the Oura Ring. If you don't know what an Oura Ring is, well, this is a great discussion for us to have. So a lot of people are using wearable-based technology. For the most part, I've been more reluctant with wearable-based technology because of EMFs. I still use wired headphones for that reason. So I test everything with EMF meters, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Well, here's a couple things that I like. I still like wearable technology because I like to know my biometrics. And that basically means biofeedback from looking at your heart rate, looking at your body temperature, looking at things like blood sugar and heart rate variability, etc. So The nice thing is, I also don't like wearing a bracelet as much, like a Fitbit. Again, I'm not against Fitbit, but I already wear a watch, and I don't want to then wear one on the same hand or on the other wrist. Having said that, I'm open to it if it gives me the feedback I'm looking for. But this is the latest version of the Oura Ring, and I've been waiting for the updated version. And I wear it then. I wear my wedding ring on my left ring finger, and I wear my Oura Ring on my right ring finger. They would prefer if you wore it on your left ring finger because you get maybe a little bit better data because of the heart just as it pumps towards the left a little bit first. You might get a little bit better readout, but I don't think it's enough to change it. And I'm not going to switch my wedding ring to my right finger for sake of putting my Oura Ring on my left hand. So what I want to show you is this, though. Here's the technology behind it, and it's pretty impressive. It really is. So, and this is technology you should start to know about because it's not going away. And if anything, this is only going to improve. And I'm going to tell you about a new thing they just added 6 weeks ago with the Oura Ring. So it's going to look at, the Oura Ring works by literally keeping it on your hand. And it works a little bit like your cell phone, but better in terms of tracking your overall steps and activity in sleep. So it contains what's called a 3D accelerometer and gyroscope. That means as your hand and body moves, it picks up the movement, even slight hand movement that I'm going to share with you in a moment. It also has an infrared lens where it's measuring blood volume, pulse, heart rate variability, etc. through that part. And the last part is that it has a body temperature sensor, which is important for looking at levels of sleep, body temperature, etc. This, without a doubt, it is the most advanced body tracking system out there right now. So if you're looking for wearable technology, right now Oura Ring is holding its place at the top, and it's the easiest to use, meaning that that I already told you, I don't love to have to be blasted with EMFs. First of all, this is low EMF. The second is it's only sending through Bluetooth to your phone on the app every couple minutes. But the nice thing is this, you can actually turn the Bluetooth to the Oura Ring off, and then you can take it off your hand, which is what I do in the morning, and I put it beside my phone, and then it connects without me actually having it on my body. I like that Oura Ring did that as well, since they're conscious of electromagnetic frequencies and radiation, etc. Even though it's minor, every little bit counts, so I look at it that way. Now, the big thing is this. Until about 6 weeks ago, honestly, this is honest feedback, no need to ever wear your Oura Ring really during the day. It's a great way to track your steps. And for someone like myself, I don't like keeping my phone on me all day long, but I'll wear the Oura Ring. So I like that. It does do that. But the real benefit comes from the sleep tracker. And that's because it's giving you this. It's actually learning about you over a period of weeks and months as you wear it. So if you're only going to just say, I'm just going to wear it at night, that's fine. The ring is worth it for that period of time. Here's why. It tracks your sleep quality by actually looking at which stages of sleep, how many deep levels of REM did you get during the night? It will break down your sleep into about 8 different parameters. It will look at light sleep, and it will look at REM and deeper sleep and possible waking during the middle of the night. It will look at your sleep trends over weeks and months as well. It will look at your heart rate variability over the course of the night. It will look at your body temperature. It looks at breath rate. So all of that to say what? All of that to say, what does your recovery look like each night? And it gives you a readiness score, which is one of my favorite things about it. You'll see me, and again, I'm becoming a little bit more of a patient person, and I know that the thing that I'm going to be teaching the most about is recovery and the parasympathetic nervous system in probably like a year and a half, 2 years. Like I'm going to be developing things to help people to a far greater degree with this. Because it's the true fountain of youth, it's true anti-aging, it's true healing, et cetera, et cetera. So the readiness score essentially tells you how much can you push it that day. And that's a great number to have. So for me, it's given me a lot of good data. Again, I mainly just wore it as a sleep tracker. I did it during the day. I like the steps. I think it's great, but it's worth it more for the sleep at night. But they just came out with a new program 6 weeks ago. That's the nice thing. Since it's software-based, you don't need to buy a new ring. You can just update your software. They came up with something called Moments. This is really nice. So you can do a 10-minute meditation. You can do a 10, 20-minute nap rest. And you could also just do a body stats, which is what I like. Now, the only thing is you do have to basically keep your body still. You have to essentially lie down to get these statistics, and you do it for 10 minutes, at least 5 minutes, but they want 10. And that will give you a snapshot during the day if you're meditating, etc. How is it affecting your heart rate variability, your heart rate, body temperature? So it gives you a little check-in midday. Now remember, the technology is not necessarily there yet to be able to constantly track heart rate readout with the Ring, HRV all throughout, like every moment of the day, but it's getting there. It is getting there. So remember, you're going to get the quality of this product and the best, I believe, out there right now by using this as a recovery sleep tracker. Look at your heart rate. Your average heart rate during the night should be in the 50s, ideally in the 50s. Now, you can have it a little bit lower when you're asleep. HRV, well, the higher the better. I mean, that's what you're looking for. You're looking for your breath rate. You know, in bioregulatory medicine, we like it more around like 12 to 16 breaths per minute. Well, and then you're looking for your overall quality of sleep, and it is actually really good at saying this is when you got into bed, and this, because you can see you lying down, and this is how long you slept for out of that time. Uncannily accurate. So I definitely recommend it. I really do. If you're if you're shopping for a biometric analyzer, this is the one. And I always say this, whether you join the gym, you buy an exercise bike, you buy the Oura Ring, what you're doing is you're also becoming more cognizant of whatever your goals are. So if you want to get better sleep and recovery, if you're wearing that ring, I can guarantee you're going to be more focused on your sleep and recovery. So that alone is always great. Okay, I'll link that up in the show notes. If Oura Ring wants to pass along any deals for my community, I absolutely welcome it. If you want to, just feel free to contact us at support@equilibriumnutrition.com. And you can feel free, or support at stephencabral.com. You can feel free to, if you want to offer a discount or something like that for our people, we can do that. And it looks like, I already asked my team if they want to do that. It does look like they're going to offer a discount, which is pretty amazing. I love when people do that. So excited about that. I wasn't expecting that. And I literally just checked my assistant right now, and she sent that over, which is amazing. So fortuitous and serendipitous. So, okay, check that out. Head on over to stephencabral.com/1260, and I'll put the code if they give us a specific code. All right. Excellent. Now, the last one of the day, and I know I'm going a little long today, but this is worth it. We were talking about pesticides earlier. We were talking about all of these things, and this is important to me as well, because I always talk about, all the different things that I love doing and like what I do for like downtime and podcasts I listen to. And I love the Joe Rogan podcast. It's some of the best interviews out there. Yes, they're long, but Joe Rogan to me is like the perpetual student. He's always learning and always bringing in new perspectives. And I also think he's great because he basically grew up maybe 5 miles from where I grew up. He's in LA now. I'm in Boston. I grew up in Medford. I think he grew up in like Somerville, or even like rented an apartment in Medford or something like that, which is kind of funny, but he came from the Boston comedy scene. And I love comedy as well because my work is intense. So if I get to listen to like comedians and laugh, like that is the best way, or one of the best ways to turn on that parasympathetic. So I love doing that. And, I just like his sense of humor. But one thing he says in the shows is that, sometimes he jokes around and says, what are these things called? Toxins. And there are real things called toxins. I talked about that in my book, The Rain Barrel Effect. I talked about the studies called 10 Americans that show before a child even comes into this world, we know they have an average of at least 200, usually 231 toxins out of only 400 tested, and yet there are 77,000 man-made toxins in the world. So we know people are coming into life with these toxins, and you can actually do a simple urine-based test to look for them. You can also do blood work to look for them. I wrote about it in The Rain Barrel Effect, where I talked about a very skeptical journalist that went in, had his blood work taken, and he was loaded with toxins, and even one that hasn't even been produced for over 40 years called DDT. So now from the 1970s, but it's still in the environment because it does not break down. So that's what I wanted to share with you and to let you know what markers to look for if you actually want to see if you have pesticides in your blood and body. So one of the ones that we talk about for pesticides, I'm just going to give you these because they're super simple to look at, is going to be what's called methyl hippuric acid. Now, again, you can have an MD run these if they're more functional medicine based or toxicology based. And what is it looking for? Well, it's looking for these things called xylenes. You don't need to memorize all of this, but it comes from the xylene family, basically. And there are these things called dimethylbenzenes. They're found in paints, they're found in lacquers, they're found in pesticides, they're found in cleaning fluids and exhaust fumes, and even insect repellents. Like if you're using a non-natural insect repellent, you'll find them there. And a lot of it comes as a gas vapor. Can you see a gas vapor in the environment? No, you cannot. You can't see it. You breathe it in. Can you see pesticides on your food? When you look at your fruit, let's just take spinach. Shouldn't be eaten unless it's organic. Can you see pesticides on that? No, you cannot. That's the issue. Since we can't see it, we don't know that they're there, which is why one day I'd love to be on. Well, first of all, I'd just love to hang out with Joe Rogan. I'm sure we'd have a good time, but also just explain to the entire world that these things exist, that you can actually run the lab. I would actually love him to run the lab. And then you can actually see what is in your blood. Remember, if it's in your urine, it was in your blood because your blood is being filtered and it's being removed. The waste is being removed in the kidneys. So these things are in us all of the time. And we can look inside red blood cells. We can look in our sweat. And then also another one that I want you to be aware of, besides the methyl hippuric is, and the xylene family, is these things called dimethyl phosphates. So DMP for short. You don't need to know what all of this is, but listen to this statistic. These from organophosphates, they're called. They're insecticides, okay? So we are looking at about, because, who's measuring this exact? 340 kilograms of pesticide used agriculturally in just the United States alone. And that 85% of U.S. households use at least one pesticide for home use. Not even just on the food. So this is important to look at, again, because this affects the nervous system. It affects the kidneys. It affects the actual bioregulatory system of what's called, I'm trying to think of the easy term for it, but the peristaltic movement in your gut. It can cause loose stool by getting these things exposed to. It can lead to seizures. So there's serious complications to this. It really is about the rain barrel effect. Some people, they can get such a toxic dose that they can actually die from it. But most people, they're just accumulating over the years. And that is what we need to watch out for on our grass, on our foods, things we're spraying in our own home. So there's something called the toxicity test. Of course, I will link that up today at episode 1260. But simply put, I want you to be aware of it. I want you to understand that these things are serious. They're not just us talking about it. And that whenever possible, buy organic. If you can't always buy organic, stick with the Clean 15. Thank you so much for tuning into today's Cabral Concept. I appreciate you. I hope you have an amazing weekend. And if this episode was helpful, please do feel free to pass along to anyone else you believe it could serve. I want to sincerely thank you for your support of this podcast. I couldn't do it without you, and I mean that. I truly do. I also want to make sure you knew that we now have multiple ways for you to find your answers to the most difficult health, wellness, weight loss, and anti-aging questions. You can find podcast-specific topics like thyroid, adrenal, hormones, sleep, digestion, Ayurveda, and many more at stephencabral.com/podcasts that will then link you to your favorite Apple, Spotify, and other podcast players. Plus, all new podcasts and weekly exclusive video content is being added to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/Stephen Cabral. And that's Stephen with a PH. Head on over and subscribe so that you don't miss any of the exclusive content. Lastly, if you've ever found any of my podcasts or books to be helpful, I would really appreciate it if you could leave a review on iTunes or your favorite media player for the podcast. Rating and subscribing to the YouTube and podcast allow me to reach more and more people and help spread my mission of healing throughout the world. Thank you again for being a part of this movement.